Hello and welcome to another video. So we haven't covered many blood decks for a while, so I thought why not give it a go and cover one. And Darkface Bat is super popular in Unlimited, and it's a deck that I was actually keen on playing, and after playing it I've got to say I'm quite impressed. I've really enjoyed playing it. Blood is one of my favourite classes. I've got a top 3, and so far Blood, Haven and Portal have always been in that spot right from the get-go, so really enjoying this deck in particular. It's not super expensive. I mean, we have 6 legendaries, which is pretty reasonable. We also have 9 golds, again, pretty reasonable, so this isn't an overly expensive deck. I would say this is right in the range of reasonable for a competitive deck, and it does really well, so we're going to get right into it and check it out. So the first thing you'll notice about this deck is that Darkface Bat is pretty much the win condition. There is not much outside of that that's the win condition in this deck. It's your biggest source of damage and probably the easiest one to close out games. Vera and Demonic Ram are kind of your stopgaps, allowing you to deal damage to yourself and stop your opponent at the same time, while also dishing out some nice damage on top of that. Blood-Fed Flower Bed is one of the better cards for this, as it does deal a reasonable amount of damage to both you and your opponent over and over again, and works out pretty consistent. Alexandrite Demon, great card, love using that. In our hand right now is going to work out really well. Being able to get the Blazing Sapphire usually is what I go for, as it's a really good heal card. Of course, you could use the red one, the Ruby, as well, and get a little bit of damage in, but blue personally is my favourite. So, of course, it works out really well. You can go face with the Azura and then just kind of gift really well into this. Also getting more damage. So in turn 3, already down 6, we've set up a nice board. Our Darkface Bat, we'll just take a quick look, see what that's at. 4 already. Evil Eye Demon, another card, one of the new ones, actually does really well in this format, as it works as a massive board clear. It's also got its Excel effect, allowing you to get extra little bit of damage off, and overall just a good card. I was holding it here because I wanted to use it on a potentially bigger board and use its evo effect. That's the only reason I didn't play it against the 1-1. Otherwise, I probably would have normally went for it. But I feel like it's going to be the card that saves us on turn 6, as turn 5 should be fine with Vera. Because I don't really want to use Evil Eye Demon here, especially with the Blood-Fed Flower Bed draw and the Demonic Drain draw. The Diabolic Drain is going to be a big help in keeping our health up at the same time as allowing us to pretty much kill everything off. So Vera, definitely a strong card for this deck. We've dealt a heap of damage to ourselves, but we've kept ourselves reasonably stable. We have 9 on the Darkface Bat. All we need to do is survive next turn and we are set. Our opponent does go for the Tin Soldier play, not a play that should be too dangerous for us. We should be able to handle that pretty well, especially with this Evil Eye Demon. We did end up with a second one as well, which not much help now, but this will do a nice job at clearing out our board, getting rid of what we don't want from our opponent. We're well and truly in range of killing them with this Darkface Bat. Doesn't really matter what they would have done here. I think we would have closed this game regardless. Even some insane healing probably wouldn't have helped them for very, very long at all. And let us get a nice comfortable 10 damage to the face. Next up, we're up against Forest. Forest was an okay match, honestly. Not a deck I was too concerned about facing. Usually your biggest issue is dealing with roaches or aggro forest, which usually isn't a big problem in Unlim, at least from my experience. We start off with a reasonable hand. I did hold on to the Darkface Bat. I thought that was a good card to keep here, since we already have Gift and we have Alexandrite, which are both super solid cards. So I wanted to keep our potential win condition in our hand for as long as I could without any issue. Fairy Circle, pretty respectable. They end up just trading off the bat, so working with a clean board is fairly decent. And our setup on the Blazing Sapphire. Pretty early on. I do love the animated Blazing Sapphire. It is a very, very nice card. So we get a pretty nice chance to play this out. We're going to hold on to the Razor Claws, as there's no real reason to play them yet. I did also draw Restless Parish. Probably should have played it instead of ending my turn. Would have been better just to use it there, but beggars can't be choosers at this point. It wasn't really an issue. So we do have our Demonic Ram, which gives us a chance to play the Blood Pact, which is really nice to pick up. giving us the draws that we're probably going to need to handle the rest of the game, especially as we did draw Evil Eye Demon, which can easily clear out these forest boards even if they were to be buffed slightly. But they do go for the Brambles play. Brambles are actually reasonably weak against this deck, as Vera just completely negates any kind of Bramble play, as 1 damage it doesn't work on Vera when it's evoed, so you're forced to either use something from your hand to clear Vera, or evo up and force another way to clear it. Vera overall is just great for dealing with this. So we have another chance to go for a Blood Pact. We can also go for the Ambling Wraith, just for some extra, since we're not going to take any damage from these anyway, so they're effectively free cards at this point, at the same time as boosting our Blood Feast Bat. So which has already reached 6 damage. Not bad at all, especially when we have 2 of them. So we do end up with a second Vera. I probably was going to play the Evil Eye Demon if we didn't draw this Vera, but considering we did, it is going to let us double drop the Razor Claw, knock them down to lethal next turn, and be pretty set. This does put them right in range. They can't deal any easy damage to us. It's only going to be turn 6 for them, which means we don't expect anything too big. Crystal Aaron ruins our plan completely. Our Dark Feast Bat just out of range, I believe, of closing this out. 1 damage off. Really disappointed with that. If only I had the 1 damage I needed. A Reckless Parish would have been perfect, but not so lucky. Actually, it probably would have been useless because of the enhanced kind of effects that they have. But, I mean, we got our Dark Feast Bat out. We have a second one lined up for lethal. Unless they had a Roach combo, we would have been fine anyway. And considering they can't remove these, it would have been fairly decent. So that did close out this forest game fairly easily. And the last match for this video is going to be against Rune. Rune, just one of those classes that I can struggle against quite a bit because you don't have quite as many targets, but at the same time you're not taking quite as much damage, so it's a kind of a double-edged sword with Rune. I did decide to drop the Vera and Evil Eye, aiming for any kind of other early game cards, as I didn't feel Vera or Evil Eye were going to be very useful in our initial game. Just because Rune, unless it's a burn kind of Rune, really isn't going to be playing a crap ton of followers for us to deal with. Looks like they are going for the Silent Laboratory play. No real threat there. Alexandrite Demon, pretty comfortable setup. Again, has easily become one of my favourite cards for this deck. I've really put off playing this deck just because I couldn't really find a deck list that interested me, and I ended up putting this one together just using a very basic structure for a Dark Feast Jorm deck. I just took out the Jorm support cards and replaced them with more Dark Feast Bat support cards, and it worked quite well, so I'm very happy with how this deck's been performing. I only dropped 1 game, I believe, which was the first game out of 5 that I played, so definitely performed well. So there is the Vera play. Decided to go with it, as Vera should survive pretty easily against Rune here. Plus we can easily drop a Razory, so why not? I'm pretty comfortable playing that out. So Evil Eye acts as a nice counter to tell us how much we've got, and so far we've dealt 2 self-damage. It's definitely not a lot in this matchup, but it's doing its job fairly well. So they did go for the 4-4 play here, and the Kaleidoscope Glow. Returning the Vera might have been a mistake for them, definitely not something I would normally want to do, but at the same time it will chew up our Evolves. So I am holding on to the Demonic Ram, hoping that I'll be able to use it pretty consistently next turn, as I should be able to go for the double Razory Claw basically for free. Actually, sorry, single Razory Claw for free, with an extra 2 heal. So instead of dealing 2 damage, Razory Claw could potentially gain us some more. It just depends on how this line of play goes for our opponent here. So it looks like they're going for the Magic Owl play to get rid of the Vera, but not really an issue. Ooh, there's our Dark Feast Bat. That's exactly what we need. So we're going to try and maximize the amount of damage we can deal to ourselves now. So I did decide to play this way. I probably should have went with the Evil Eye Demon instead. Cleared out the 3, went Razory Claw. Since we can't really use it any other way, I feel like that would have been the better play, but this did present a little bit better board, which is pretty reasonable, even if it is going to be Wind Blasted and Angelic Sniped. So we're not quite in range of what we would need for a lethal. We're actually still a reasonable way off. But Snarling Chains is going to start getting us there slowly. Especially since they are at 10. So there's the Golem Assault play. And a Chimera. We should be able to clean this off fairly easily. We're going to get them very close to lethal range. Actually pretty much dead on thanks to the Snarling Chains. As long as they play a single card follower on board that we can kill with Snarling Chains, we win this game. We don't even have to kill it, we just have to hit it with Snarling Chains. So basically if they play a Golem here, we win. Which we know they have Golems because they put a heap into their hand. Another Golem Assault. And there's a Golem. So that's our target. Snarling Chains, Dark Feast Bat, 4 lethal, exact lethal at that. Pretty much perfect. We would have been just off, but I'm sure we could have bought a little bit of time, especially with the Restless Parish getting us very close. So overall, we probably would have been fine, but that just gave us a guaranteed lethal. So this Blood deck was a lot of fun to play, especially for the Unlimited format. If you're looking for a fun Blood deck to play, I definitely recommend this one. It should be pretty user-friendly for rotation players only, as Vera and Dark Feast Bat are pretty much the only 2 legendaries, and both are in the rotation format at the moment. So most players, if they are popular in Blood, would probably have these. Same with Evil Eye Demon, and all the other cards are pretty easy to get a hold of for any kind of Unlimited play. So if you are a rotation player and you haven't played a lot of Unlimited, this deck might be the deck to really bide you over, especially if you want to play Blood in the current meta, as Blood just isn't super powerful in rotation, at least from what I have seen. I haven't seen any deck that's really stood out to me yet in rotation, but for Unlimited, this is absolutely a lot of fun, so I highly recommend giving it a go. So until next time, please like the video, subscribe, you'll find the deck list in the description below, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.